Hello and welcome. My name is Alan and we are back with more Bhagavad Gita. We're going to be doing another 2 chapters today because we got 2 more small chapters and that'll put us at the final chapter, which we'll do by itself. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and hop into this. Chapter 16, The Two Paths. In this most unusual chapter, the Gita departs from its lofty view of human nature and describes 2 opposing forces. The higher tendency, the divine, leads to increasing happiness in the course of the soul's evolution and eventually to its liberation. But there is also a downward current leading to suffering and an enslavement of the spirit. This chapter is unusual in giving equal, if not, in fact, more attention to this dark side of human nature. Here we get a detailed description of the divine qualities that liberate and the demonic qualities that enslave. In a rare somber tone, Krishna describes the sinful person, the individual of a demonic kind, and it seems he knows what he is talking about. But first he assures Arjuna that he is of the divine type, so he shouldn't be alarmed. The divine personality is basically atheistic. For such people, life does not originate in God or a divine reality, but it is grounded in biology, in sexual desire. Taking a low view of human nature, such people cause suffering to themselves as well as others. They are arrogant and have many insatiable selfish desires, and they do not hesitate to do anything that will get them what they want. Krishna grants that they may attain their desires, enjoying wealth and power, but their destination is hell, a hell of their own making, often in the very life as their karma bears fruit. One of the least likable characteristics of demonic personalities is the sense of self-importance. They like to give gifts ostentatiously and offer ritual sacrifices. This legitimizes their wealth and makes them feel respectable and esteemed. They like being generous if it will make them look good. Krishna does not disguise his aversion to cruel people. He tells Arjuna that he arranges for them to be born again and again in a harsh world. Such souls cannot seem to purify their sinful hearts, repeating the same selfish ways. They sink lower and lower. This is a bleak picture which the Gita dwells on only in this chapter. But even here, amidst the gloom, Krishna will not say that such a soul is eternally damned. It may be that such a sinful creature is condemned to birth after birth in harsh, unfavorable circumstances, sinking into more and more hellish states of mind, but the cycle goes on. The choice to change direction is always open, and the Atman itself can never be stained. Lust, anger, and greed are the 3 doors to hell that Arjuna must at all costs not enter. The person who enters will not only fail to reach life's final goal, but will not achieve any measure of lasting happiness and prosperity. In Sanskrit, this chapter is called The Way of the Divine and Demonic Destinies. In the words Deva, God, and Asura, demon, are not to be taken too literally here. The Hindu scriptures often tell stories of the battles between the gods and the demons, or devas and asura. They dramatize the struggle between good and evil in this world. No divine character from Hindu myth escapes a challenge from some demon. Usually the god or goddess is victorious, but often the demon will win a battle or two, though not the final victory. Krishna has a long battle record celebrated by epithets like Madhusadana, slayer of the demon Madhu. Rama, another incarnation of Vishnu, had to confront the kill Ravana. The stories go on. The gods never seem to rest for long. There is always a new challenge to their authority, a new source of malignant evil to be destroyed. The Mahabharata and the Gita do not dwell on these mythical battles. Here the interest is more frankly human, and when Krishna discusses the divine and demonic qualities, he speaks not of gods and demons, but of human good and evil. The two paths, the actual text. Krishna. Be fearless and pure. Never waver in your determination or your dedication to the spiritual life. Give freely, be self-controlled, sincere and truthful, loving and full of desire to serve. Realize that the truth of the scriptures. Learn to be detached and to take joy in renunciation. Do not get angry or harm any living creature, but be compassionate and gentle. Show goodwill to all. Cultivate vigor, patience, will, purity. Avoid malice and pride. Then, Arjuna, you will achieve your divine destiny. Other qualities, Arjuna, make a person more and more inhuman. Hypocrisy, arrogance, conceit, anger, cruelty, ignorance. The divine qualities lead to freedom, the demonic to bondage. But do not grieve, Arjuna. You were born with divine attributes. Some people have divine tendencies, others demonic. I have described the divine at length, Arjuna. Now listen while I describe the demonic. The demonic do things they should avoid and avoid the things they should do. They have no sense of uprightness, purity, or truth. There is no God, they say, no truth, no spiritual law, no moral order. The basis of life is sex. What else can it be? Holding such distorted views, possessing scant discrimination, they become enemies of the world, causing suffering and destruction. Hypocritical, proud, and arrogant, living in delusion and clinging to deluded ideas, insatiable in their desires, they pursue their unclean ends. Although burdened with fears that end only with death, they still maintain with complete assurance gratification of lust is the highest that life can offer. Bound on all sides by scheming and anxiety, driven by anger and greed, they amass by any means they can a hoard of money for the satisfaction of their cravings. I got this today, they say, tomorrow I shall get that. Their wealth is mine, or this wealth is mine, and this will be mine too. I have destroyed my enemies. I shall destroy others too. Am I not like God? I enjoy what I want. I am successful. I am powerful. I am happy. I am rich and well born. Who is equal to me? I will perform sacrifices and give gifts and rejoice in my own generosity. This is how they go on, deluded by ignorance, bound by their greed and entangled in a web of delusion. Whirled about by fragmented mind, they fall into a dark hell. Self-important, obstinate, swept away by the pride of wealth, they ostentatiously perform sacrifices without any regard for their purpose. Egotistical, violent, arrogant, lustful, angry, envious of everyone, they abuse my presence within their own bodies and in the bodies of others. Life after life, I cast those who are malicious, hateful, cruel, and degraded into the wombs of those with similar demonic natures. Birth after birth, they find themselves with demonic tendencies. Degraded in this way, Arjuna, they fail to reach me and fall lower still. There are 3 gates to this self-destructive hell: lust, anger, and greed. Renounce these 3. Those who escape from these 3 gates of darkness, Arjuna, shall seek what is best and attain life's supreme goal. Others disregard the teachings of the scriptures. Driven by selfish desire, they miss the goal of life, miss even happiness and success. Therefore, let the scriptures be your guide in what to do and what not to do. Understand their teachings, then act in accordance with them. Chapter 17, The Power of Faith. At the end of the last chapter, Krishna and Arjuna told Arjuna to look into the scriptures to guide his actions so that he can avoid the lower road that leads backwards to a less evolved state. Now Arjuna wants to know about those who do not follow the orthodox ways set in the scriptures, but who nevertheless offer some kind of worship with faith in their hearts. In reply, Krishna goes into greater detail about the 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. He also stresses the importance of shraddha, or faith. This is a difficult word. Faith is not an adequate translation of the etymology of the word, and the etymology of the word is obscure. It probably has the underlying meaning of what is held in the heart. We might say that our shraddha is the sum total of our values, what we really hold to be important in our lives. Every human being, Krishna says, is shraddhamaya, made up of faith. As the Bible puts it, as we think in our heart, so we are. Here, as elsewhere in the Gita, shraddha is a positive quality. It is good to have faith. Yet faith can be of different kinds, different qualities. Sattvic faith is the most evolved, the most pure. Rajasic faith is dynamic, evolving, yet tainted with selfish motives. Tamasic faith goes astray in a spiritual desert. To illustrate this, Krishna tells Arjuna that sattvic people worship the devas, the gods of heaven of light. The Rajasic worship yakshas and rakshasas. The yakshas are servants to the god of wealth. The Rakshasas are powerful, fearsome spirits driven by the lust for power and pleasure. Finally, tamasic people worship the spirits of the dead and ghosts. In a practical digression, Krishna describes the different kinds of food liked by the sattvic, the Rajasic, and the tamasic. Then he applies the three gunas to the act of worship and sacrifice or selfless service. Yajna. Verses 14 to 16 turn to the important question of tapas and sadhana, the disciplines undergone for the sake of spiritual growth. The Gita holds that no lasting progress is possible in the spiritual path without self-discipline. The root of the word tapas is tap or top, to be hot or to suffer pain. And in fact, tapas can also mean heat or suffering. When certain spiritual practices are mastered, they create a feeling of heat in the body, which is a sign of increased spiritual potency. Tapas also refers to the power gained through spiritual austerity. Krishna dispels the mistaken belief that tapas means mortifying or torturing the body, and points out that the spiritual disciplines can be sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. The sattvic kind of tapas is offered for a truly spiritual goal. Rajasic tapas is performed to gain a selfish end, probably the admiration of others. Deluded by tamas, a person will undergo painful, foolish practices to try to gain power over or even to injure others. Changing course for a moment, Krishna discusses the mantram Om Tat Sat. Om is the most ancient of Hindu mantrams. It is the sacred syllable that is Brahman, the cosmic sound heard in the depths of meditation. Tat is that, the supreme being, the supreme reality beyond what language can describe or thought can think. And Sat means both, that which is and that which is good. The mantram Om Tat Sat affirms that only the good really exists. The opposite word, Asat, implies that evil is transient and therefore is not ultimately real. The last verse concludes that no act or intention can add to spiritual growth, or if it is faithless. An act done without shraddha is asat, unreal. It cannot have meaning either in this world or the next. The text, the power of faith. Arjuna, O Krishna, what is the state of those who disregard the scriptures but still worship with faith? Do they act from sattva, rajas, or tamas? Krishna, every creature is born with faith of some kind, either sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. Listen, and I will describe each to you. Our faith conforms to our nature, Arjuna. Human nature is made of faith. A person is what his shraddha is. Those who are sattvic worship the forms of God. Those who are Rajasic worship power and wealth. And those who are tamasic worship spirits and ghosts. Some invent harsh penances, motivated by hypocrisy and egotism. They torture their innocent bodies and me who dwells within. Blinded by their strength and passion, they act and think like demons. The three kinds of faith express themselves in the habits of those who hold them, in the food they like, the work they do, the disciplines they practice, the gifts they give. Listen, and I shall describe their different ways. Sattvic people enjoy food that is mild, tasty, substantial, agreeable, and nourishing. Food that promotes health, strength, cheerfulness, and longevity. Rajasic people like food that is salty or bitter, hot, sour, or spicy. Food that promotes pain, discomfort, and disease. Tamasic people like overcooked, stale, leftover, and impure food. Food that has lost its taste and nutritional value. The sattvic perform sacrifices with their entire mind fixed on the purpose of the sacrifice. Without thought of reward, they follow the teachings of the scriptures. The Rajasic perform sacrifices for the sake of show and the good it will bring them. The tamasic perform sacrifices ignoring both the letter and the spirit. They omit the proper prayers, the proper offerings, the proper food, and the proper faith. They offer sacrifice to the gods, to offer sacrifice to the gods, to the good, to the wise, and to your spiritual teacher. Purity, honesty, and continence, and nonviolence. These are the disciplines of the body. To offer soothing words, to speak truly, kindly, and helpfully, and to study the scriptures. These are the disciplines of speech. Calmness, gentleness, silence, self-restraint, and purity. These are the disciplines of the mind. Then these three levels of self-discipline are practiced without attachment to the results, but in a spirit of great faith. The sages call this practice sattvic. Disciplines practiced in order to gain respect, honor, or admiration are rajasic. They are undependable and transitory in their effects. Disciplines practiced to gain power over others, or in the confused belief that to torture oneself is spiritual, are tamasic. Giving simply because it is right to give, without thought of return, at a proper time in proper circumstances, and to a worthy person, is sattvic giving. Giving without regrets or in the expectation of receiving some favor, of getting something in return, is Rajasic. Giving at an inappropriate time, is inappropriate circumstances, and to an unworthy person without affection or respect, is tamasic. Tat Sat. These three words represent Brahman, from which come priest and scriptures and sacrifice. Those who follow the Vedas, therefore, always repeat the word Om when offering sacrifices, performing spiritual disciplines, or giving gifts. Those seeking liberation and not any personal benefit add the word Tat when performing these acts of worship, discipline, and charity. Sat means that which is. It also indicates goodness. Therefore, it is used to describe a worthy deed. To be steadfast in self-sacrifice, self-discipline, and giving is Sat. To act in accordance with these three is Sat as well. But to engage in sacrifice, self-discipline, and giving without good faith is Asat, without worth or goodness, either in this life or in the next. But yeah, we'll end there. So, like I said, I think that'll leave us with one final chapter. It's pretty good as far as length. That's why I'll be doing it by itself. Yeah, a lot of text. Final chapter. Pretty good length, like I said. So it'll be on its own. But yeah. Again, we get introduced to the ideas of sattva, rajas, and tamas as the three forms, I guess you would say. And that people can either follow the Vedas or asura, the demons, the demonic. And yeah. He talks about the Krishna in the texts talks about you perform good deeds because it is right, not because you seek something. And that really puts you on the correct path, the sattvic. you make sacrifices because it is the act of the sacrifice of giving, and to give to a worthy person. Yeah, I can see myself as being more Rajasic. But it's not necessarily that I have worships for any entities or anything. I believe of myself more atheistically. Again, because I just believe it's good to know the information of the other levels of spirituality and mythos. So yeah, as far as myself, I don't see anything that gives me reason to believe there is these great entities. I just don't. The best entities are even the worst entities are going to be other people. And personally, the only thing I can really see, you've got to put good out into the world if you want a better world. I don't take loose change back. I say, put it in the drawer for the next person who needs it. Leave it in there. I'll take the dollar bills and stuff, but yeah, leave that loose change in there. Someone who needs that, let them have it. I'm sure there's always going to be somebody a bit short here or there. Goodness knows how it would help if more people would do something like that. Just change. But again, I also have my things I want. I don't really care about power. I don't care about wealth. Lust, I had fallen off, but now that I'm back, or now that in the last couple years I've been taking testosterone, that's come back up. So, yeah. But I honestly have want for very little in this world. I just want people to be nicer to each other instead of this stupidity that runs. And I've talked before about my anger. That's probably the one thing that would, if I studied to be in Hinduism, that would keep me from ever reaching a sattvic level unless I could overcome that anger. But as far as wanting other people to like me, even if I were to build some great center, I don't want it named after me. I don't want things named after me. Name them after the region, after something that is symbolic of the region. of the people. You know, as an example, I've thought about this for a long time. If I were to suddenly have money to be able to build things, if I were to build some kind of center for the town, because this is a small town experiencing troubles. The high school that it used to have has been torn down. I thought about if I were ever to build some kind of center for it, I'd name it after the high school. You know, that kind of thing. I could care less if it's named after me. I don't want that. It's not. There's a saying that you should live to better the future, to put more out there to make better the road in front of you. Don't plant seeds because you want to see a big tree. You'll not see it grow to what it could become in your lifetime. That's not how things work. You plant it because you want it to be there for the future generations. But yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on things. So like I said, there's things that would keep me from being sattvic, but I highly doubt I'd be tamasic. So I'd probably definitely be Rajasic in who I am if I were to follow Hinduism. Anyway. Yeah. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all. I screwed up my ending. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone wants to tell you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.